How's your
Wait, you're
evening
kind of
going?
frozen.
Am I?
Yeah, you're frozen.
I hope it's good now. I don't want
Okay, now it's good. I can
to.
see
All
you.
right. I should have good Wi-Fi. Maybe I shut my desktop off. Get a
No,
little
you're
better
good.
bar.
My name's Graham. Nice to meet you. What was your name again, or should I just call you AB?
You can call me Alex.
Alex. Oh yeah, I saw your name. It looked familiar, but I guess you must have commented on my stream a bunch probably if I recognize your name, or
I've
you
been
must
in
have
a
said
couple
something at some
times.
point.
Yeah. So a little on my background. Marine, veteran nowadays. I was a combat marksmanship coach. I
Marksman
study.
coach. Sorry.
Yeah, a
Marksman coach.
combat marksmanship coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm guessing we probably couldn't debate gun control.
Well, it's too far gone. I mean, we can talk about how it got to this point, but there's no taking away Americans' firearms. I think we just need some better training, really. We need to teach people how to use those weapons properly.
So would you put more restrictions or any kind of additional gun control on the Second Amendment, or no?
Yeah, I think it's fine the black and white the way it is, but um, it's just the training. I mean, that's my biggest point with it. If we're going to allow Americans to have the weapons, we need uh, we need equal access to training. You know?
I mean, I heard in some states it's free to get your concealed carry, and there's training in that.
Yeah, there's definitely, and that's if you do it right. There, sometimes you're almost forced to go through the training, which I appreciate. And then,
Wait. Do you agree enforcing? Do you think they should be? Do you think that's a thing of gun control? Do you think people should be forced to be trained by like should they be forced to take a class if they want to
let's
purchase a
not say
firearm?
forced, but like
It should be
very
recommended, maybe.
incentivized.
I think it's pretty incentivized, honestly. Hello, Clippy.
Fair. Um, yeah, and maybe the training. It's just like how many people with guns know the 4 weapon safety rules?
That
I
many?
run into them more often than not. That's one of my first questions. Like, if we get into that kind of a conversation, what are the 4 weapon
Well,
safety rules?
I was just wondering mostly about like I like your perspectives on that, and I agree. I like your perspectives on guns and whatnot, and I agree with a lot of what you were saying about you know, stopping funding of wars and whatnot. Of course, I think most people agree with that and stuff like that, but the main thing I wanted to point out about that is, it's a much more complicated situation. I mean, there's a lot of inner dynamics and stuff that we really don't
Oh
realize
yeah.
about conflicts and wars. And sure, I'm not saying certain circumstances couldn't just be, like we did, the pullout last under Biden, which I think that was a disaster. That's another question. What do you think about Biden's military pullout and those
I
16
think
people that
there
passed
was
away?
no way to do that without it being a disaster. But being
Mm,
there myself felt like uh, gross.
gross.
Yeah, just um, I think at that time I had been seeing a lot more of what we were doing. Did you see that book that I sent in the chat? The Smedley Butler's War is a Racket.
No, I didn't see it.
It's an excellent read. If you have an hour drive, you can listen to it on an audiobook. I highly recommend it. But the book speaks on the military industrial complex, which was coined by General Smedley D. Butler when he presented that it was originally a memoir turned into a book to Eisenhower. And that's when that term was coined. And the book speaks about his 30-year career in the military and how every battle he fought, while he was in it, he was fighting for his Marines and for his fellow Americans on the home front. But as he started to see the writing on the wall, he realized not one of those battles was won for the American people. It was won for a few individuals occupying those territories to expand our reach.
No, I definitely think there's both government overreach inside of our country and outside of our country.
Oh
And
yeah.
I believe in a smaller government. Now, I know you didn't directly say it. I know you said you're an independent, and I believe everyone has the right to, not disclose who they voted for. But by everything you said, it just gives me the stance that you probably did vote for Kamala. And, she's the same thing. You're shaking your head no.
I
Maybe
didn't.
you voted for the
I
Green
wrote in.
Party. You don't have to
Yeah.
say it, though.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, that's because I just don't think that either options were good choices for the American people. And I genuinely, I'm happy to speak about it now with you. Um, but I do try to keep the voting piece of it to myself and speak objectively about what's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, I know I understand people might not have liked Biden or Kamala or Trump, but at the end of the day, like I fully believe, even if you're not, a Republican, a Democrat, or you're apolitical, I think the best decision is to vote for, the best candidate on whatever side.
Yeah, and that's what made it exceptionally difficult. I just didn't see a best candidate.
I
Um,
clearly saw the best candidate. To me, it was extremely clear. There is no doubt in my
there-
mind. I would personally think that Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, AOC, even freaking. When I say Bernie Sanders, that tells you how bad it is. When I say Bernie Sanders, I don't know how you feel about him, but when I say Bernie Sanders would be a better politician than Kamala, that tells you how bad
well,
it is. I
yeah,
mean, I don't even know
that's
how you can
there's no
say
doubt
that
about
it
that.
was a tough decision because Kamala didn't run on any policies. The only thing she ran on
Well, I
was
don't like the
pro
Democrats
murder
or the
of unborn
Republicans.
babies and abortion. That's the only thing that she ran on. That was literally her whole stick was abortion, abortion, abortion. And then the second policy that I know of her
Well,
was
they
saying,
both use
oh, a
buzzwords, man.
$20,000 tax credit, a $20,000 tax credit for new home buyers. I mean, what is that going to do when everyone starts buying homes at once? What do you think happens to home prices?
Well, I hear what you're saying there. I have slight knowledge in that only because I just bought a house, and I was looking for other sources of funding. But hey, that VA
Well,
home loan.
congratulations on your new house.
Thank you. But it's that was kind of a slight stab back at what BlackRock is doing to the housing.
I don't
They're
think it
buying
was a
up.
stab back whatsoever. I mean, if she really cared about the
That was the
pricing of
objective, but
housing,
it never came to
she should.
fruition.
Sorry.
It never came to life. But
Well,
I
she never became president, and that's also a horrible policy. If you want a better housing policy, I agree with what you just said about BlackRock. Ban BlackRock and Vanguard from buying houses. But the
excellent.
messed up thing is they technically, I believe, I'm not sure on the federal law and how everything works, but from what I hear is that they technically are banned from buying houses. The way they do it is through third-party companies.
Yeah.
They direct and pour funds into different areas and go around a bunch of loopholes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if
That's it.
if Kamala
So
Harris really
what
cared
I
about
think the
home
objective
buyers, she would
there
have done that or offered it. I mean,
the objective there was to incentivize individual Americans to buy those homes before BlackRock or Vanguard gets their greedy little hands on it.
but many Democrats and leftist people will argue that BlackRock is just going to outbid you, which I personally have never seen. I know plenty of people that buy houses. I've never seen BlackRock or Vanguard outbid anybody, but that's neither
Yeah,
here
and
nor
that
there.
happens. There's a lot of houses in America. They are still doing that. I don't think it's as widespread as the media portrays it, but
No, I'm
uh,
sure they're
they
doing it,
are
but I
definitely
just don't
doing
know
it.
anyone personally that has had experience with that.
I can't say I do either. Yeah. Uh, no, I mean, I don't even know where we were
But
going with that.
BlackRock and Vanguard are also the people that are have connections to funding the military-industrial complex.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. No, I'm not vouching for those individual or those
no, I know
corporations.
you're not.
No, I think they're actually one of the main issues. I think outside of politics, those individuals have more power than we realize. They just hide in plain sight.
They do hide in plain sight. And another messed up thing is my friend's grandparents. My friend told his grandparents, he says, "Why the hell are you investing in BlackRock and Vanguard?" And they responded, "Oh, we don't care. That's most of our 401k, and it's making us a lot of money." I mean, you should care. It's growing. There's plenty of other good companies on the market in the stock market to invest in. You don't have to, invest in these kind of companies. Now, at the same time, I understand, a small amount of market capital isn't gonna like change BlackRock or Vanguard's. You know, I'm not here to say to boycott investing into them because I don't think that's going to change anything. We would have to have a mass, protest about investing into these stocks and into these
Well,
funds.
we'd
But
we'd have to look at all of they own so many companies, like it's hard to even keep track of what they own and what we're spending our money on that is contributing to them without us even realizing it, you know?
yeah,
Like it would be such a monumental task to be able to take them down as individuals that we're going to need the help from the federal government eventually.
someone asked, what is BlackRock? Basically, what BlackRock is a multinational investment company, and they control a lot of things that happen in America. They control a lot of what happens in the real estate market and what happens with a lot of stuff around the world, even including, you know, the military-industrial complex.
They
They're
have
an
10.
American multinational investment company. They were
Yeah.
founded in 1988, and they're a risk management company,
Larry
fixed
Fink.
income institution, asset manager. It's literally the world's largest asset manager with
Yeah.
$12.5 trillion in under management. That's absolutely insane. But we have 200 people in here. Can you guys slap that like button? And if you have any other comments, questions, drop super chats or whatever. But get us to 20 likes. Of course,
Can
of
I
course.
like? Oh no, I can't like it, huh? Wait.
I think you can like it.
Anyway, uh, no, BlackRock. I think that's something that we're definitely resonating on. Those guys, they gotta,
I
they
mean, I
gotta
wouldn't be surprised if
put
I
some
had more
reins on.
subscribers. They'd probably try to take my neck off for even talking about them.
I know. We got, we got to look over our shoulders.
I mean, we
They're
really do
listening.
gotta look over our shoulders. BlackRock isn't a joke.
And
I
I
mean,
hear ya.
people love to push these conspiracies about who runs the world. I mean, I'm pretty sure you should know by now that it's corporations like BlackRock.
Yeah. No, I agree. Uh, I definitely agree. Vanguard is the same, and then there's another one. There's
Yeah,
three
there
of
is
them.
another one. Yeah, State
What's
Street,
that
I
other
think,
one?
is it called? What is State Street actually? Hold on.
That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, State
State
Street.
Street. Yeah, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. Those three. I mean, they control so much. What do we really have as the people under we the people with those three companies owning so much?
Listen, I know the government isn't perfect, but you serve this country, so it's
Yes,
one
sir.
of. I truly believe. Thank you for your service, but also I truly believe it's one of the best countries in the world. And people will argue with me, and they'll say this about the first cop out they use is talking about school shootings. And violence and stuff like that. Okay, every single country has violence. We don't need to sit here and debate and discuss, especially Australian
Sure.
people. They love to come on here and act like their country is superior. But I love Australians. I love you guys. But I'm just going to go ahead and speak my mind about this. Places like Australia are not superior to America. Having free healthcare that you pay with your taxes, sure, healthcare is nice. But when you have to pay you have to pay 60% of your income to the government, I don't think it's really worth it. But that's just my own opinion. Everyone
Well,
else has their own opinion,
they're a
whatnot.
fairly new democracy as well, so they're going through their growing pains just as well as we are. Just like you
Yeah.
said, where everybody's imperfect, but it's striving for that more perfect union, as the Constitution states.
The reason
That
I think
it's that
America is the
pursuit.
best country is because of the opportunity. Like, look at all the great companies that America has made. Like Google, this whole entire live stream wouldn't even be possible right now if it wasn't for America. And not to mention that it's the land of opportunities. And third talking point is, I mean, I'm not trying to dig in on Australia. I love all you Aussies out there. I know I have a little bit of an Australian audience. You're not the worst country. You're definitely up there in great nations to live in. You have beautiful beaches, beautiful wildlife, et cetera, et cetera. Now I'm going to dig in on you guys. You have higher cost of living and lower wages than us. And not to mention, you also have violence as well. But
Oh yeah.
I'm done digging in on Australia. But like I said,
Well,
I believe
violence is
America is the land
prevalent.
of opportunity. It's like one of the only countries, it's not one of the only, I mean, it's not the only country, but it's one of those countries where, if you really want to, if you don't care what kind of job and position you're in, you can make six figures, like, within 5 or 6 years. I mean, if you want to be a truck driver, if you want to start a business, if you want to do a bunch of things, and not everyone has to make a lot of money. Not everyone has
Mhm.
to be a millionaire, but there's opportunities out there. That's what's important.
What do you think, Graham? Do you think billionaires should exist?
Yes, billionaires should exist. They give a lot of people jobs and they create a lot of jobs. And I'll dig into the whole thing. Yes, billionaires create a lot of jobs and millionaires create a lot of jobs. But I mean, if a lot of people say get rid of the rich, tax the rich to death. I mean, who is
Well,
going to pay your 50? Sorry, go
do you
ahead.
think if those billionaires were like capped at 999 million, do you think they'd still be able to offer the same amount of jobs to people?
No, and also you need money and resources to do what you want to do. Like, yes, Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, but here's a perfect example on how he has the most money in the world, but he still had to have investors and people help him with the projects and ideas he wanted to do. For example, he bought Twitter. I don't know how you feel about Twitter. There are some heinous things on there, but at least it's a platform where you're not censored. For the most part, you can see what's happening around the world and whatnot. But there's a lot of heinous stuff on there, and a lot of people have negative things to say about it. But at the end of the day, this man was, I don't know if he was the richest at the time, but he was in the top three richest, and he still did not have the physical cash to purchase Twitter. So he had to go to his rich billionaire buddies so they could all. He sold Tesla stock just to purchase Twitter. Like, he did
Mm-hmm.
not have the cash to purchase a company that he wanted to reshape. And like it or not, I think Twitter financially and all their is business wise, even if you don't like the rhetoric that they're pushing, I wouldn't say they're really pushing anything. They're more about freedom of speech. But even if you want to make the claim that they're pushing a certain type of rhetoric, I think you could argue that business wise and income statement wise, and not to mention you can get monetized on Twitter now. You can make money on Twitter. So that's also giving more and more people jobs. And also Twitter was heading towards, I'm not going to say it was heading towards complete bankruptcy, but I think maybe in 5 or 10 more years of them running like they're operating, yeah, they were probably heading for loss of revenue and possibly bankruptcy. I mean, they were already losing revenue. Elon Musk, in my opinion, got scammed in that business deal. When he bought Twitter, he bought it for way too much money, more than he should have ever bought it for.
Well, yes. Yeah, that's pretty clear. Let's
But do I
see.
think
Is
it's
it
worth more now? Yes, I do think it's worth more now. But what do you think about billionaires? Do you think that they should be capped at $900 million?
I think that would be an excellent experiment. Do you know that, like, have you ever heard the analogy of how long is a million seconds?
Yeah, I understand $1 billion is a lot of money. But
Right.
first off, two things I'd like to mention. I understand a lot of billionaires avoid taxes, but first off, the effective tax rate that Elon Musk has paid in his last tax bill was higher than, people in poverty and also a lot of people on the lower and the middle class level because, they're paying, the lower tax brackets. Some of them might be paying 10%. Elon Musk paid 20% on his Tesla stock that he sold, and he paid the most taxes in history out of anyone. So that's just another reason that we should allow billionaires to be around. And yes, I do think that there should be some things for. I do believe in tax loopholes, but I do also think that it's hard to explain. I do believe in tax loopholes. I think there should be less taxes in general. I think taxation without representation is theft. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I do believe if you have $1 billion that you should be contributing. Would I go as far to say that the government should force you to contribute? I don't know.
Well, let's look back at Andrew Carnegie when
Flat tax rate. I agree with that comment.
yeah, Andrew Carnegie was am I missing chats here? Oh my goodness, I am. I thought there was nobody talking. Jeez.
If you can't see the chats, then you can just leave the YouTube, click the link I sent you again, and rejoin, and you'll see it.
Gotcha. No, I found them now.
Okay.
Um I thought nobody was saying anything.
Yes, this is live. No, they're definitely saying something. They're big
Cool.
mouths.
What were we talking about? We were going into
Andrew Carnegie. Andrew.
yeah, Andrew Carnegie. He was the richest man in the world. The government asked him for a bailout, and his idea of a bailout, he's like, "Well, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll build libraries in every city in the country, museums, and I'll donate to scientific research. So it's like, what kind of efforts are going towards that? Didn't Bill Gates donate all his cash to his corporation,
He
so he
don't.
didn't really.
Yeah, he donated his money to himself, and also,
Yeah.
let's talk about flat tax for a second. And also, you guys are weird. Kiss each other. Kiss each other. Jesus. If you have any questions, comments, drop some
Oh,
super
because
chats.
we're
But
agreeing, they want us to be yelling at each other.
yeah, that's the problem. They don't like when you're not screaming at the top of your lungs.
We can
But
violently agree if that helps them.
I do think that a flat tax is more fair because listen, I know some people are born into wealth, but a lot of millionaires and billionaires had to work and struggle extremely hard. Why should they pay more taxes just because they work harder? And this goes
Right.
for people that are making 70, 80,000, $100,000 a year. Why should they be paying more taxes than the person that might? I'm not saying all of them, but some people barely want to
Yeah.
work.
It disproportionately hits lower income families.
I mean, I don't know about that, but possibly.
Well, if it's a flat rate, you know, if the tax is 20%, a person making
Here's another idea. I
40,000
believe in a
pays
higher.
8,000.
Here's my plan. I would believe in a what is it called? I believe in a flat rate tax, but I would increase the itemized deduction. Like you know how it's $15,000 a year now in 2025. I would. You don't pay taxes on income until you start making over $15,000 a year. Otherwise, it's just deducted because of the standard tax deduction. What I would believe is turn the standard tax deduction maybe to 40 or 50,000, and then anyone making over that amount, they pay a certain amount of tax on their entire income. I would probably put it around 30 to 40,000, the standard tax deduction.
Yeah. I actually don't have a rebuttal. I know they're mad about this because we're just
No, I think you should
agreeing,
pay
but this
no
is what America
taxes.
is about.
No
I think
taxes if you make only 30 or $40,000 a year. I believe no taxes. But if you make $60,000 a year, okay, you can pay 10%. Also, I also agree with Trump's policy, even though I don't think it's going to be implemented. But I agree with his idea. A lot of people will get mad at this. You might disagree with this, but I agree with his plan that people making under $150,000 a year should not be paying taxes because
is that a real thing?
150,000. Yeah, it's a real thing. He's talked about this many times, but people making under $150,000 a year, that's a lot of money in like the South. I don't know where you are, but that's like a lot. That's
That's
a
a lot of
decent.
money.
That's a lot of money in the South, but if you're living in Seattle, New York, Los Angeles, that's not a lot of money. That's basically just barely paying your rent, your bills, your car note, your taxes, and maybe going out to a restaurant, a couple times a month. Where
Uh,
can you rent a place for under $15,000 a year? I can easily tell you that. Go to the South and go to some rural area in the South. If you go to the
yeah,
South,
even out in the
yeah.
suburbs, I have a rental property. It's 19. No, sorry, 950. 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
Let me
So
guess. Let me guess. You don't have to confirm or deny. Are you in Texas?
I am not.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So I'm looking at this federal income tax on 150 brackets. It's still saying that they're taxing them. I guess maybe that hasn't taken effect yet.
No, it's not. It's never been in the House. It's never been in any kind of government legislation. This is just an idea that Trump put
Got
out
it.
there.
Cool.
Just to
I'm sorry.
clarify.
I misread that. Cool.
I do not live with my parents, but you can cry about that.
Average citizen.
He's very angry about our discourse and debate. I don't know how you felt about Charlie Kirk, but I agree with what he said. The thing that's stopping us from a civil war is discourse and debate, and it seems like some
Right.
people are, not really liking that. They don't like discourse and debate.
We have to discourse and debate just as we are now. I think we're all Americans. That's one thing I think is being forgotten currently. I tell people, if you're a Republican, go hug a liberal. If you're a liberal, go hug a Republican because we're all fucking American. Excuse me. I don't mean to
It's
swear.
okay. No, you can swear on here. But if you, I don't know if you noticed or not, but sorry if I'm speaking more quiet now. I'm getting over a cold right now.
You're
But
good.
as long as you can hear me, it's good. I don't know if you noticed, but in the Discord, I have lots of Democrat liberal friends in there. The only time that I'll talk shit a little bit, I mean, I'm not trying. I can be an asshole, yeah, I'll admit it. But the only time I'll talk shit is when people start talking shit first. Like a lot of people that
Right. They
can't,
match the energy.
if you can't show, if you can't show a little bit of respect for your fellow human beings because they disagree with your politics, then I'm going to kick you out of my Discord. It's really that simple.
Yeah, and that's one of the things they drilled into our faces in the Marine Corps. You could be standing next to a Trump supporter, and the other guy on your right is a crazy Kamala supporter, but those two got my back, and I got their back. It ain't about politics, you know. And I think I carried that over into the civilian life. And Semper Fi, there's a couple Marines in here, man. Uh, but that's something I carry in my life. We're all American, you
Can
know.
I ask you a genuine question? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to make a joke, but like, are there actual Marines that you know, or anyone in that served this country that actually like voted for Kamala? Like, I'm not trying to be funny here.
Well, and that's the thing. None of us ever really talk about it with each other. That's not something we just never did. It was never allowed, you know. We couldn't wear political items. Nobody could bring their Trump hat on base. I'm sure it's happening now, but you know, we we lose some of our rights when we sign the dotted line. Not necessarily in the way you think, but we're under a more stringent jurisdiction. Excuse me. Um, so we just never talked about it. I don't know what my friends vote for. I can make assumptions, um, but genuinely isn't something we talk about, and we are in regular conversation. Certainly.
Two things I
I'm
want to
sorry if
say.
that's not a satisfying answer.
No, it's okay. It's it's a fine answer. It's at least you're not saying no. The majority of the Marine Corps voted for Kamala Harris, because I'm not going to believe that. But I'm sure there are some ones that voted for. But two things I'd like to say. First, I'll say the first thing. It doesn't really matter who's president, guys. I mean, yeah, sure, there'll be certain policies and there'll be certain things that improve your life or don't improve your life. They might slightly push you off kilter a little bit. But in reality, if you're not doing well, I'm not trying to offend anyone. I know people go through struggles and ups and up times and low times, but the reality of life is if you guys aren't doing well, or if you're quote unquote struggling, it's not because of who's in office. It's not because of a political leader. You live in the best. You live in the best country in the world.
I
This,
agree.
there's a lot of opportunities out there.
ARH. That's right. Sorry, ARH made a good point. Marines are assigned to defend the Constitution, not any one president.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. I just wanted to. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Graham.
No, it's okay. I mean, if you want to go into the discussion about how Trump is supposedly going against the Constitution, we can talk about that as well.
Well, what do you think about that gift from the
Okay,
airplane?
first off, how does that go against the Constitution? Second off, as far as I know, I mean, it's the government's plane, but you can also argue it's Trump's plane. But where's the significant evidence? Where's the proof? And also, third off, even if it was Trump's plane, you don't think the over $7 trillion he brought into the country in the last 8 or 9 months,
How much?
deserves 7 trillion, 7.8 trillion? It was 1.3 trillion. I mean, I don't know if you'll find an article about this, but I can break down the numbers for you. It was $1.3 trillion with the EU deal. And yes, I realize a lot of these deals probably haven't finalized yet. I'm not 100% sure about this one, but they've agreed. They've agreed in it. The European Union said we're going to do a $1.3 trillion deal for America because of this whole tariff situation. We're going to lower the tariffs on bringing, I believe it was American auto manufacturers into Europe. And also, we are going to invest $650 billion into purchasing American energy, and also $750 billion in direct investment into America.
Well, I mean, I can't speak on all of those points, but with the the plane in Qatar, it violated the monuments clause. It's a very difficult word to say.
Is it in the Constitution?
Emoluments. What is it?
Is it in the Constitution, I said.
Yes.
How did it violate it? And do you have any substantial evidence to support that this is going
Sure.
to his personal ownership?
Well, it was. It's just a confusing thing to do when we have airlines in America to build planes for us.
Yeah, you realize he's been waiting since literally his first term for Boeing to send us a new aircraft. You know that plane is over 40 years old, right? That Air Force One is over 40 years old.
Is it broke?
No, it's flyable, but it's kind of an embarrassment to have the best country in the world with extremely outdated equipment.
Well, you should see the Marine Corps. You
Well,
want to talk about outdated equipment?
I'm sure the Marine Corps has some outdated equipment as well, but Russia is still using shit from the 1970s. So
If it ain't broke, that's all I'm saying.
I disagree. I think America should represent its power and influence. We have
Right.
729 people in here. Does anyone have any questions, any comments they want to talk about? I've just been seeing a bunch of jibber jabber in these comment sections.
The U.S. is fighting with F-15 still.
They're using updated F-15s.
They are. No, they're still using some of the old planes, but there's certainly
I mean, they're not
some
using
fantastic,
F-15s when they first came out.
which is still, again, to my earlier point, they ain't broke. They're still pretty effective, and you
Yeah,
get a
but
good
these are from
pilot
like
behind those.
2006, 2007. These are not from like 1980, 1990.
Wait, what did that guy say? The Foreign Emoluments Clause is in the Constitution, and he said he was going to keep it himself with his words.
Okay, can you show me the quote? Or can you show me a source? Because I've never heard him say that once. I've looked into this topic in detail. I've never seen a source. I've never seen a quote.
I didn't hear him either. I'm going to look it up real quick.
And that's because they're spreading misinformation. He's never said that. But if you guys have any questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, we can debate about whatever you like. Drop some super chats, smash that
Yeah,
like and
see what
subscribe button.
Trump ain't do nothing about grocery prices. It's true.
What did they say? What was the comment?
It was something about grocery prices.
Well, at least in Florida, I don't know what state you're in, but grocery prices have starting to go down, and also gas prices in Florida, they were about 380, 390, $4. Now they're at 279, 280. Depends what city, but I'm from Florida, so I'm just speaking on how stuff is running in Florida. But I do know places like New York and California, they do have higher gas prices because they added new gas taxes, which increased the there were taxes $1 per gallon. That's ridiculous. But anyway,
That's something I'm very passionate about is infrastructure. You know anything about that?
yeah. What do you want to talk about?
What do you think about? Do you think we have a bit too many cars?
No.
Not too
I
many
do think
cars.
that we should have. I do think we should have better rail lines, and I do think we should have better
Cool.
trains because I've
Yeah.
been to like 20 countries before, and Europe
Right.
has a way better
Same.
public transportation system. But I also know that this is kind of unrelated to like any. So it's kind of unrelated to Trump and stuff like that. But it doesn't really matter. We can talk about whatever. But the reason the way it is because we have the major oil companies. They're lobbying
Yes.
against public infrastructure. I mean, I
Yep.
wouldn't call this infrastructure that I think we need to improve is energy infrastructure. I think we should worry about that first, and then we can talk
And then
about
it would follow suit. Yeah, we take away some of the oil companies' power, and we'll be able to build some trains. I concur.
But I will also tell you that the infrastructure in Florida has been improving. We got a rail line from Miami to Orlando.
Yeah, Brightline, guys. You guys are leading the way with that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll make a big difference.
And that's all thanks to Ron DeSantis. He's not perfect on everything. Florida does not suck. What state do you live in? And also, Ron DeSantis is about to make a vote. Everyone's going to be voting if they want to abolish property taxes in Florida. So if that happens, That'll be great. I mean, everyone will start moving to Florida at that point.
Everybody already moves to Florida.
Yeah, but don't tell the extremely left wing Democrats that. They'll get angry. They'll say, no, no one's moving from California and New York. They all love California and New York. I
Yeah,
mean, California and New York are great, but I'm just talking about a government perspective.
they're mad we're talking about infrastructure. I get it. I know we got to entertain. They all
But
left.
we
I'm
can talk
sorry.
about Pete Hegseth now, and we can talk about the Department of War. I'll
Well,
let you start.
I just don't. The Department of War ended to include all the branches and bring us together. I also, just from playing sports my whole life, I know that the best offense is a good defense. Uh, so I just think when you run a campaign on ending wars and then
Once again, he's ended 7
rename,
wars. I'd love to talk about this. Or he's intervened with at least 7 conflicts. It
well,
depends how
then
you want to define it.
why not officially, but why unofficially name the Department of Defense the Department of War?
Because Trump is an aggressive man. I don't I don't fully agree with his personality. Like, he's a dickhead, he's a douchebag. Yeah, we can say that all day, but I think he's the right option for America. And also because the whole thing that this all goes back to Trump's major statements. Peace through strength. Like, he wants America to be turned into
I've
like an
served, Curtis. Sorry,
he
go ahead.
wants America to turn into like an aggressive, stronghold. He wants people to know that, we're not scared of defending. We're not scared of offense. We're not scared of this or that. But can we also agree? We'll get back into Pete Hegseth in a second and the Department of War. But can we also agree that comparatively to Biden, Obama, and even Bush, that Trump so far in his first term and in his current term, that he's been like the least warmongering president.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree? Let's break it down.
Well, last night he said he hated his enemies.
Okay. So what does that have to do with war? And what does that have to do with anything? Once
Well,
again,
I've never heard a president say that.
I mean, I don't know if any president has said that or not, but he's been through more than 99% of society has been through. And to clarify, it's really easy to take things out of context. When you just say that, it kind of
I
sounds
know
bad.
he asked
And
for
I
forgiveness.
understand. No, I understand that's not a good thing to say. But he also, let's point out the fact that he also apologized to both Charlie Kirk and God himself for literally saying that
Right,
he
but
doesn't
like
like his enemy.
as an adult, I work for children and they are able to catch their impulses and stop themselves from saying things like that.
I don't think it's
I
about impulses. People have tried to throw him in prison. He's been shot. Wouldn't you feel the same way if you got shot and people were trying to throw you in
Well,
prison?
let's talk with Jesus. I
No,
don't mean to
but
be
Trump
that
isn't
way,
Jesus.
but
No man is
he
equal to
sells Bibles
Jesus.
to
A
us
man is. Well, if you want to talk about selling Bibles, we can also talk about Gavin Newsom. He released a $100 Bible,
to troll Trump.
but it's still sold out, and he still sold it.
Did he really?
Yeah, he sold the Bible. It's a
I'd love to
hundred
see the
dollars.
receipts.
I mean, he posted it and he said, "Wow, my Bible sold out." I mean,
Again,
you
I
think
think
a
he's
web store? I
trolling.
mean, I understand it's trolling, but it's also literally him trying to make money from his supporters. And
Well,
not to mention, there
I
are
mean, we
more
can't even
expensive.
hate on him. If Trump did the same thing, then what are we to say?
I mean, I would also say that you can buy very expensive Bibles out there. I mean, especially if you want like some original manuscript, or you actually want like certain kinds of Bibles, like you want a really good Bible. Like, you can spend a lot of money on it. It's just like how capitalism works. You can spend a lot of money on anything. But to be fair,
Yeah.
yeah, I do. I don't really agree with that. To be 100% honest with you, but what I will say
That
is,
that rubbed me the wrong way. I don't think
no, I understand how it could
our
do that.
leaders should be hating anyone. I think we should be unifying. That word just shouldn't be used.
I mean, I
I know
believe
this
in
is going to
First
sound
Amendment.
lame, but I really genuinely think we just don't have any room to hate. That's a waste, and it burns yourself. If you
I
hate
do agree with
someone,
you mostly there.
it
Like I
eats
said,
you to
Trump is not the
pieces.
nicest person, but I do agree with his political policies. And This is a man that we're talking about that he's been attacked all his life. Trump has had over 3,500 lawsuits. He's been attacked ever since he was, 18, 17, probably before that, just because of who his dad was and his family was, et cetera, et cetera. He's been constantly
Yes, he's
attacked
a
his
deeply
entire life.
troubled man.
I mean, I wouldn't say deeply troubled. I would say Hunter Biden is deeply troubled with crack cocaine. But I would say that,
He's
he
sober now.
has,
He's been sober
he
for
says he's sober, but I don't
3 years
believe
now.
him. I also don't believe him.
That's fair. Did you watch the Andrew Callahan
Yeah, I did. I
video?
like Andrew Callahan.
Yeah, he's the man. I saw him live a year ago now in Pittsburgh. He's great.
I like him, but he's pretty radical left. But I like how he does his stuff, and it's not too political. He just tries to make, fair and honest stuff for the most part.
Right. Yeah, I know. I really appreciate that. He stays objective as much as possible. I totally agree. He just puts the mic in front of people's faces. He lets them
Yeah.
talk. I appreciate that too. It's rare. We just don't see that as much these days.
Yeah, but once again, I'm going to ask you this question again, and please do not respond with saying you don't like Trump's rhetoric, because that's not what I'm focusing about. I'm focusing
Sure.
on his political and global economic policies and what he's done for the world and for the country. Do you think that, Obama, causing probably, I would have to sit down and I have my computer right here, but I would have to look it up. But do you think Obama you think Obama and Bush being involved with, three, four, five, six, seven, eight different conflicts? Like I said, these are just random estimates. I'm not 100% sure. But do you think them literally starting multiple wars and putting our troops in different places, foot soldiers on foot, and
Hmm.
also Biden is pull out of Afghanistan where he killed, I believe, 16 people, and also Biden's, non-compliance to even try to intervene with any conflicts going around, even try to negotiate with stopping conflicts. Trump has stopped 15 million thousand wars. Hello, Chris. That's 100% true. 15,000 million wars. But like I said, Bush and Obama, they did about, six, seven, eight different conflicts. They sent soldiers into war.
Hmm.
Biden, he killed about, I mean, his actions, directly or indirectly, however you want to say it, have killed 16 of our military members, and also Biden's non-compliance to even try to negotiate with the conflict going on in Ukraine or Israel.
I
His
don't agree with any of it.
non-compliance. But okay, so how can you sit here and say and tell me that Trump is not better than them in terms of war and warmongering? Just because of his rhetoric
Well,
and just because you said he hates his enemies, I'm talking about actual conflicts and actual war. I'm not talking about you disliked what Trump said in his rhetoric, et cetera, et cetera. We shouldn't focus on that. We should
it's yet to
focus
be
on.
seen. Well, tell me the list of wars he's ended.
Okay, well, we can start with India and Pakistan. Now, I understand some politicians in India were a little bit angry at Trump. And hello, Burnell. Yes, level up the likes. I understand some politicians in India were a bit upset, and they were saying, "Oh, Trump isn't shit, this and that." But Palestine said that they would like to nominate Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Also, the
Well,
30-year
if he
war
does it,
in the Congo, in Africa. I forget who they were going against, but it was some war in the Congo that was 30 years old. 8 million people died total. Trump took them to the negotiation table and he ended the war. And what did he do to end the wars? I just said he brought these people to the negotiation table. Let's bring up a high point. Did you see the ending of the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan? Trump literally had these two countries met in the White House. He had them, dude, this is literally the definition of unity. I've never seen a president do this in my life. I'm not trying to glaze. I don't think Trump has the best personality. I think he can be a shitty person in ways. He's an asshole, he's arrogant, et cetera, et cetera. But never have I seen a president take two people from different countries and basically force them to shake hands and sign a peace agreement at the White House. Have you ever seen that? Because as far as I remember, at least in
yeah.
my lifetime,
No, and that's fair,
I
but
mean, have you seen
it's
that?
also
Have you
still
seen that?
fragile. Could spark up, you know,
I mean, yeah, it is
to see
fragile,
them
but
as
a peace
ended.
agreement is a peace agreement.
Right. So it's, are we going to hold true to it? stay
Most
on it,
likely. Yes, most
ensure.
likely. Because Trump, they
Um,
know Trump will shove his big boot up their ass. They don't want conflicts with America. They don't want problems with America. They want to do business deals. They want to, do stuff with America. So
right, and I think
can
that's
we admit it? Can we just admit that out of the last 20 years, from ever since from Bush to Trump's current day, he didn't start any new conflicts during his first term. Can we at least admit that he's the least warmongering president? Yes, he's an asshole. Yes, his rhetoric isn't good. Yes, I agree with you about the Department of War. It probably doesn't send the most peaceful message to the world. I agree with you there, but at the end of the day, this man has, been showing that he's not a warmonger. And he's also, one more thing I'd like to point out, he's also the first president ever to point out that the military industrial complex wants more and more wars so they can profit off of it. You can Google that right
no.
now.
Eisenhower coined the term. So
Okay, maybe back then, but was that really an issue back then?
yeah, that we just bombed Japan. We killed
Okay,
millions
fair
of
enough.
people in 3 seconds.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm saying like that's not what I'm talking about though. But I'm talking about like the military industrial complex. Do you think it's bigger today or bigger back then?
Oh, it's a trillion times bigger today.
That's exactly
Lockheed
what my
Martin.
point is. It's not about the war or the Japan thing or anything like that. My point was that, the military industrial complex have grown. And Trump is like the first one in the last 40 years to, speak up and say he's, against this. And second off, I'd like to talk about Peter Hegseth. Now, I know that you like are blaming the fact that Trump, I mean, I'm pretty sure he gets the final decision on naming it the Department of War, but I think that you're like doing him a little bit wrong. And listen, I don't really like this guy. Like, I don't know something. It's not that I don't like him, but it's just like I don't like the way he looks or acts. So maybe I should get to
Mm.
know people more. But just from like I said, I really don't know too much about him. I don't really listen to his politics or policies, but I have not heard the best things about him. But to say that he's unqualified with his military experience, with the fact that he served in wars before, is kind of unjustly, especially lots of other people that served like in your position that have like served the
Sure.
military. They might have the same experience. You're basically
He's got to
calling them
he's got to
unqualified.
stand up a little bit more. He knows the rules and regulations. He's got to be a little more. He's I don't know if he's afraid to say no to him, uh, but he's got to know the history on the. It's just that rubs me the wrong way that he allowed himself to take the title of Secretary of War. Now, objectively, that sounds badass, but it goes
Okay,
against
okay, okay.
our
We're
principles.
getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere.
I understand, but it's not about being badass. It's
But
about
America's
defending the
badass.
American people. Yeah,
America,
but we already
fuck yeah.
are. We don't need to gloat.
I think we've
We
been
already
losing it.
are.
I think we've been
One of
losing
the
it
things
slowly.
about Americans and why Marines aren't allowed to wear their camis outside of the base is that we are humble warriors. We could take your head off, but you'll never know, you know? And I think
America
that
used to
was,
be badass. I think we're slowly getting it back there. I think we're slowly getting it back there, Chad.
we never stopped. And we never needed to gloat about it by changing our name. Defense is war. Yes, correct. So we were already doing it. So it was a superficial thing to distract, I think. What would he
Once
be
again,
distracting from?
I can agree with you on pretty much everything you're saying. The only thing that I would just like you to say is that Trump is the least warmongering president in the last 20 years. Like, come on, man.
I can't agree with that. I just haven't seen it yet. I think we need a little more time to be
Okay,
able
but can
to
we talk
state
about his
that.
first term? I mean, this is his second term. Can we at least compare it to his first term?
Yeah, I mean, his first term, he
What conflicts
not
did he start?
officially ended during his presidency. Afghanistan, he did not end, but he signed the Doha Agreement with the Taliban, setting a timeline for the U.S. withdrawal, which Biden pulled out in August 21,
Yeah,
following
so he
his.
did the pullout.
Yeah, they helped each other there. That was working as Americans, but it was still messy either way, like it always would have been.
I mean, that's
Um,
the people dying is a huge thing, but that's really fucked up and whatnot. I'm not trying to take away from that, but in my personal opinion, I think something that's a little bit more fucked up is the fact that we literally left billions of dollars of equipment in there, which would literally cause probably mass destruction and death through all out the Middle East. Graham, Trump started an illegal war in Iran. Okay, Chris, bombing somewhere is not a war. That's not a. Congress has to sign a declaration of war. And if there was a war, quote unquote, how come Iran and
Oh,
Israel have.
anything. No,
Sorry?
I mean, but every president has done this. They've all
Exactly.
violated
Not
that.
to, not to
Yeah, but that
mention.
doesn't mean Donald should. If he's going to drain the swamp, then he has to act accordingly to our
No, I understand,
Constitution.
but two things I'd like to bring up. First off, no Iranian personnel died. Second off, no American personnel died. Third off,
Right.
this con. Sorry?
But it's the principle. You know,
No, I understand
maybe
it's the principle,
Congress
but what
would have
about the
allowed it.
nuclear facilities?
And this is a
Even if there
touchy
was no
subject
nuclear
because
facilities, even if you don't believe in that, this was a show of power. And Iran has been saying death to America for the last 60 years, ever since the 1970s when they got their new regime. But let me finish reading the super chat. Graham, Trump started an illegal war in Iran. First off, not true. There's no ongoing war. Bombing somewhere is not a war. A war is when there's continuous conflict between America and Iran or Israel and Iran where people countlessly died. No one has died. There was no declaration of war. And, that's just simply not true, Chris. Bombing somewhere is not a declaration of war, especially when people don't even die. And second off, Venezuela per art, nothing has happened yet with Venezuela other than bombing of drug smugglers. First of the Constitution and intelligence law, it doesn't matter they knew they'd get obliterated if they struck back. It's a declaration of war. No, a declaration of war is something Congress fires. If it was a declaration of war, how come Iran hasn't struck Israel or America back in like 2 months? I have no clue what you're talking about.
well, they don't have
Like,
anywhere near the power that we have.
no, I know that, but can you at least? I understand what you said. I agree with what you said. It's not. I don't really fully agree with the Iran situation, but I don't regret it. I think it needed to be done because they've been threatening us for years now, and it didn't escalate to any other conflicts. But can you? I get that you don't like, you don't agree with what I just said just now, but can we at least agree that this was not a declaration of war, that this was not a new war started between
No, it's
America and
basically like,
Iran?
somebody yells at you and you go and you punch him in the face real quick and then run away. Similar to that.
No, Chris.
You know,
Biden and Obama had real wars that had real declarations of war by Congress. Trump isn't doing any illegal wars. There hasn't been any continued conflict with Iran. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. You do not need congressional approval for bombing a country. You should know this as a lawyer. Anyway, continue with what you're saying. Continue with what you said. Sorry, I
these
interrupted
guys are
you.
talking about Vietnam too. It's getting chaotic in the chat there.
Would you like me to Google if Obama had congressional approval for any of his conflicts? I'm sure he has.
He only didn't use congressional approval once, from
So he
what
did.
I know. Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm not. No, we agreed on that, but that's where I'm saying that if Donald wants to drain the swamp, then he should be following the rules to a T.
Well, what rules has he not followed?
That one.
Well, he doesn't need the congressional approval for bombing.
I hear you. I don't think that's true.
Well, Obama did it. Bush did
Right,
it.
and he violated the Constitution when he did
So
that.
every president in history has violated the Constitution. Is that what you're telling me?
One, not every, but the last 5.
No, it goes way farther
7.
back than that. Let me
I
look it
mean,
up. First
it was a
president to
smaller,
bomb a
yeah.
country. No congressional approval. Let's see. President Nixon did it.
Yep, I knew that.
So this goes back like 60, 70, 80 years minimum.
Okay.
Trump
Abe
is not a
Lincoln
war
did. He
criminal.
suspended habeas corpus, which was to end slavery. Andrew Johnson defied Congress repeatedly, was impeached for violating the Tenure of Office Act. Franklin
Yeah, but
Delano
Trump has never
Roosevelt.
violated the Constitution.
Who?
Trump has never violated the Constitution?
The Emoluments Clause. And he tried to overturn election results.
Who?
Donald.
Well, he's never been charged with that. That went to court, and they said no, that's not true. I mean, it depends if you think that our courts are justly or not. But you can't say that our courts are
I think
unjustly.
Our courts are still holding strong.
Okay, well, there you go. That answers the question. I'm not even going to make the two-sided argument then.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that Emoluments Clause is pretty clear, and he violated it right in front of us.
Can you show any substantial evidence? Can you show a clip Trump saying he's going to take this plane for his personal use? Can you show any kind of source whatsoever saying Trump is going to take the plane for his own personal use after his presidency run? Chris, give us some examples how Trump has violated the Constitution.
Well, it's not even the plane itself. It's it's foreign payments in his hotels and property.
Staying at a hotel is not has nothing to do with the Emoluments Clause. First off,
well, when they build it for you.
Sorry.
When they build it for you as a gift.
I mean, how can you say it's a gift? They have to stay somewhere. That's not a gift.
Right, but they paid for it and put his name on it.
Whose name on it?
Donald.
What are you talking about? I mean, yeah, they. I don't even. I actually looked into this before. I have not found any. I mean, you can probably look this up, but I've looked into this before. The only people that stayed at Trump's hotels were his Secret Service, and they said he overcharged them. Well, tell us where in the Constitution it says that's illegal, Chris. Come on, you're a lawyer. Give some law statutes. Don't just say it's unconstitutional.
Yeah, Chris, what you got for us? I'm trying to find it myself.
Maybe Saudi royals did stay in a hotel, but how is that a gift?
Okay, so in the Constitution, federal officials cannot accept gifts, payments, or benefits from foreign states without congressional approval. What he did, while in office, foreign governments spent millions at Trump-owned hotels, clubs, and properties. Multiple lawsuits argued this violated the Foreign Emoluments Clause. I'm getting good at saying it now. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals allowed one case to proceed, confirming plaintiffs had standing to argue Trump was receiving unconstitutional foreign emoluments. Proof. House Oversight Committee released records showing foreign governments spent at least $7.8 million at Trump's businesses during his presidency.
Well, let the court figure it out. You just said you believe in the court system, and you just said they've all been turned down in the court. And also, you can't control.
The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals allowed one case to proceed, which gave proof that foreign governments spent $7.8 million at Trump's businesses.
Just because it proceeds doesn't mean that he's guilty. That just means that they think they might have something that just thinks they think that they might have to look into evidence. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that he's necessarily guilty. But Chris, the part that you're naming is literally the part saying about declaration of war. Once again, there's no declaration of war. Like, I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. A war is not when you bomb a country and no one dies and no one does anything. It's not a war.
So here's another one. Misuse of emergency powers. Only Congress can decide how federal money is spent. Trump declared a national emergency in 2019 to redirect billions of dollars to build the border wall after Congress had explicitly refused.
And how did that end in court?
Ruled Trump's diversion of funds unconstitutional.
So they took the money away? Is that why they stopped building the wall?
Well, yeah, because he wasn't allowed to do it.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, so he didn't do it. He didn't do anything unconstitutional. That proves my point. All he was trying to do was push the promise he, gave his voters, which was building the wall. By the way, how do you feel about borders? Do you believe in open borders?
Well, it's a multifaceted issue. I don't think we have open borders.
No, we don't have open borders anymore, but we had something that was damn near similar to it before.
I had a point about open borders here. I thought you might bring that up.
Your Trump deflection is hilarious, dude. The only thing I'm pointing out is the fact that, like, it was declared unconstitutional, so he didn't proceed with it.
Well, yeah, and I hear you. But shouldn't he know the rules?
He's not a lawyer.
But he's the president.
Okay, do every single politicians know about every single law? Does every single lawyer know about every single
No, but that's why
constitutional?
I heard Trump hires the right people to be in his ear to tell him not to do things like
I
that.
mean, you can hire plenty of lawyers. I mean, Chris is a lawyer. He'll tell you he doesn't know everything in the Constitution, and mistakes can be made. And either way, even if he did think it was unconstitutional, he's the president of the United States. If the people vote for him for a specific reason, he should push it to happen. And the courts can decide, even if it was unconstitutional. My personal opinion is if you're doing the right thing, which I think building the wall is the right thing, you should push the courts on it. And if they declare it's unconstitutional, okay, fair, but doesn't mean you shouldn't push them on it.
I don't know about a wall. The Chinese built a wall.
Graham, are you telling me that if another country bombed Tallahassee and didn't kill anyone, you just shrug and be like, meh, that isn't war? Well, first off, that's completely different. Iran is, I don't know if they necessarily qualify as a third world country, but yeah, if America was saying for 60 or 70 years, they were saying death to a specific country and we got bombed, I would not be surprised. If Americans were in the streets and the government was screaming at the top of their lungs, death to this country for 60, 70, 80 years, and then we got bombed, I would not be surprised. And if no one died, I'd probably be like, meh, this isn't war. But first off, Tallahassee can't get bombed without anyone dying. And second off, that's not even comparable. We can't compare Florida to freaking Iran. Like they
No.
bombed somewhere that was in the middle of the desert. And second off, like I just said, they've been saying death to America for 70 years. How can you not expect to get bombed at one point or another?
So we were talking about immigration, right? What are your takes on it? You don't think we should have immigrants?
No, that's not hell no. We should have immigrants. We need immigrants.
Yeah,
But
it's our
I
superpower.
believe that I don't believe coming into the United States is a God given a God God given right.
That's what the Irish did.
Well, what do you mean the Irish did? Those people came into America legally back then.
Yeah, but they came here without knowing whether or not they would be able to.
Okay, what's your point?
And they lived in America a long time before they were actual legal citizens. A
Well,
lot
what
of them
year did the
using
Irish
the
come in? Did they come in before the founding of the Constitution in America?
new. I mean, yeah, a couple, I'm sure,
Well,
but
then if they were
we
there
also
then,
came after too.
then they were the founding fathers of America. If they came in the late 18th century, or they came in during the late 18th
Or
century or the early 18th century, then they came in legally. They had to do documents. You know
my
about
point is that
You
I
know
think
about
we
Ellis
should
Island,
really.
right?
What's up?
You know about Ellis Island, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, my great great grandparents came to America in like 1875. They had to fill out documents. They had to they had to have health checkups. They had to do all the proper paperwork.
you don't think these people are doing that?
No, most of them aren't. If you jump over the border illegally, then you're not doing any of that. That's the problem.
Right, but then when you're on American soil, you have the right to due process. They know
The
that,
Alien Enemies
and maybe
Act and
that's
the Expedited Removal Act that Bill Clinton passed in 1998, I believe. These are explicit laws that are giving quote unquote due process, but just not in the way that the liberals and the Democrats like. I don't know if you can look up Expedited Removal Act. They get removed out of the country if they're caught a couple hundred miles away from the border. They can get removed without having an immigration hearing or a court case or anything like that. They can legally get removed from the country. Thank you, Chris, for the NyQuil fund. and
is an
and
important immigration policy tool that often comes up in debates. Here's the full breakdown. Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996
okay,
allows
96.
immigration officers, not judges, to quickly deport certain undocumented immigrants without hearing before an immigration judge.
Yes.
People caught within 100 miles of the border,
Yep.
those who entered without authorization and cannot prove they've been in the U.S. for at least 2 continuous years.
Burnell, I agree. NyQuil is $4.69 plus tax. $2 ain't even enough for half the bottle, dude. Come on, Chris, man. We need NyQuil funds. Put up
So
super chats if you guys have any questions or comments,
the
or if you want to
risks
contribute
with
to the
that.
NyQuil fund.
So it says our immigration courts are overwhelmed. Expedited removal is a lawful tool to keep cases moving and protect border security. Is that the argument you're presenting?
Sorry?
So I'm trying to look at your argument. Our immigration courts are overwhelmed. Expedited removal is a lawful tool to keep cases moving and protect border security, right? Is that the idea of it?
Yes, that's the idea, and that's also not even the only law that allows this kind of thing to occur. There's many other laws. We can talk about those as well. And if you look at the Alien Enemies Act, which talks about it's not just during a wartime, it's also during an invasion. If you look up the definition of invasion, it's very broad. All it means is people coming into your country and occupying a certain amount of land from specific countries. And by the way, the Alien Enemies Act isn't even, you're familiar with that, yes or no?
Yeah, of course.
I don't believe anyone has been deported without due process. And if you can give me an example or a certain situation, I would love to talk about it. This is my favorite debate topic.
Okay. Expedited removal lets officers deport people without a judge. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
That is. I just read that. Civil asset forfeiture lets government take your property without convicting you of a crime.
Is that part of the Alien Enemies Act?
Yeah, that is under that jurisdiction.
I mean, also, there's not really even an argument for the Alien Enemies Act. I mean, people can scream at the top of their lungs and say the country's not being invaded. But first off, if you look up the definition of invasion, it quite literally fits it. And second off, this act isn't even being used on everyone. Some people actually are still getting court hearings. And third thing is that the Alien Enemies Act literally went to the Supreme Court twice. The first time they were questioning if it was unconstitutional or if it was lawful. The first time, I don't believe it was the Supreme Court, maybe it was the lower level court. They said it was unconstitutional or it was not lawful. Then it went up to the Supreme Court, and they deemed that it was indeed lawful.
Well, I just don't. What do you? I mean, do you think we should be going up to Home Depots and just throwing people in vans?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm only asking for laws to be used and pushed as as I would want them to apply for myself. I never would ask for a law to be used or pushed on people if I didn't want to apply it for myself. So if I jumped over the border, if I committed some kind of because I've lived in other countries before, so if I did any kind of immigration crimes, and I would fully expect them to do what they have to do. Obrego Garcia was deported with the Alien Enemies Act. But if you guys have any actual questions or comments,
Was that the guy that was that came back now?
yeah, by the way, they did bring him back. So for all you Democrats that are saying, oh, even if it was unlawful or what's the word,
Right.
no due process, they still brought him back into the country because he's going to trial right now for human trafficking. So
Yeah, he's a human trafficker.
that's up to the court to decide. I'm not here to
Um,
judge people on their criminal charges or the criminal cases. But he's a wife beater. His wife has publicly admitted this. There's voice audios of it out there on YouTube.
Jeez.
But
I mean, yeah, but
she
we should
retracted
have
her
just taken him to
criminal
court before
cases
we
against
sent
him.
him there, and that would have avoided a lot of
Sorry,
negative publicity.
what'd you say?
We should have just given him due process before we sent him to
I mean, like I
Venezuela.
said, he was deported because of the Alien Enemies Act. But I will say I believe it is true that it did go to the court. Not 100% sure, but I do believe it went to the court and they said it violated something. That's why they brought him back. And also because he has to face trial.
These guys are wild. Nobody ever makes sense in this chat.
I know. I mean, I wish you guys had some common sense.
It's like hard to.
It's not acceptable to use any tool for due process, even if it's federal law. What are you talking about? If you take it away from anyone, it can be used against you later. I mean, no, it cannot be used against you later. The Expedited Removal Act is impossible to use against American citizens. The Alien Enemies Act is impossible to use against American citizens.
So I saw something about that manufacturing plant for Hyundai that South Korea sent over a
Oh,
bunch
I'd
of.
love to talk about this one. Hey, Chris, listen to this, man. I have a lot to say about this. Continue, though.
Yeah, right. So I'm just looking into it because they detained about 475 workers. Most of them were from the South Korean nations. The raid was described by ICE and Homeland Security as part of an investigation into illegal employment practices. Some workers allegedly were in violation of visa terms or were working illegally. Many
Yes,
of the
that's true.
workers detained were on visa waivers, B1, B2 visitor/business visas, or had possibly overstayed or were claimed to be working beyond what was permitted. Uh, the legal status, at least one leaked ICE document reportedly shows that South Korean worker detained in the raid had a valid visa and had not violated its terms, yet
I
was
haven't
still
seen
made to
substantial
depart.
evidence of that. Just saying you have a leaked document without showing any evidence is not really, evidence or proof. But maybe one or two of them were legal citizens. I have no
And then
idea.
that's a mistake,
I
right?
mean, not legal citizens, green card holders. I'm not saying ICE doesn't make mistake, but I'm saying is I need more substantial proof and evidence.
I hear you. Many
Because a
argue
lot
that
of
the
people say,
use.
"Oh, I have leaked documents. I have leaked this." I mean, how the hell do you expect me to believe that you're getting access to, federal documents? Due process is for legal residents and U.S. citizens, not invaders. I 100% agree. I mean, technically, you do get due process if you're, an invader and a legal immigrant, but you don't get the same kind of due process as Americans get. Americans have true due process. What
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
hats are you giving away? Sorry, someone said they're giving hats, but continue.
no, I mean it's just the treatment of them. They said they were shackled. This is reported by ICE.
I know this
Shackled
is
around
standard
hands,
protocol, though. If
ankles,
you break the
and waist.
law, I mean, a bunch of them said they had guns pointed at at their heads. But what did they do? First off, I'd like to point something out. First off, I don't know if you are reading this in the article, but they were already asked for clarification on their legal statuses about a week or two before the raid, and I don't know if they didn't respond or they didn't give a clarification, but they were asked for the high end of the factory. The people working there were asked for their documentation, and they were questioned already if they were there legally. It's not like this raid just came out of nowhere. And
So, did
second
they
off,
set up a tent outside and ask all the employees to show their visas on the way out?
sorry,
Did they just, calmly come into the building and say, "Hey, everyone, we're just going to check your visas, make sure you're
I don't
good,
know
and be
I
on
don't
our
know
way"?
ICE's. I don't know the federal process for that. I'm not an ICE agent. I know that there's a federal law process for this. And I know that they went to ICE detention centers and they were most likely, I mean, I think they were there for a bit of time. They were most likely asked and questioned. What I do know is one of the South Koreans that were there said, okay, you caught me. I'm fine with just deport me, whatever.
Do
He
you
pretty
think that
much,
this could hurt foreign growth and economic investment?
I mean, South Korea is pissed about it. But the way to smooth over relations, which I believe the relations will be smoothed over. From what Chris told me, Trump said, "Oh, I want these employees to come back." Not really sure, if that's true or not. But what I will say is that South Korea has asked for a new type of visas for their workers after this situation because a lot of people are saying this is the thing is I heard a lot of them actually did apply for visas. It was just taking too long for the actual process to
Which
go
is,
through.
I'd love to touch on that point real quick. I think that is the main, like, we should be, if we put any money at all in regards to immigration, we should be funding those courts to make them move faster. So
Yeah,
that
but there's also a waiting line. This is just how a standard system works. I mean, this is government
right,
democracy. It's like
but
when you go get a
7 years,
driver's license, you don't
you
just
know.
get to the front of the line and get your license right away.
But if we funded it a lot more appropriately, or maybe we thought what was appropriately isn't enough, um, you know, Timothy is saying 475 new
I
jobs
agree.
for Americans, and it's
And
why the
regardless
reason
if
they
it is
sent those
taking a
South
little bit
Koreans
longer,
over, Tim,
even
is
if
because they had the expertise.
we have engineers as well, but
Yeah,
the reason that those South Koreans got sent over is because I believe Hyundai is a Korean company, and also
yeah,
so yeah, it's not directly because of I mean, sure, I'm sure they have a lot of skilled workers, but we have engineers as well.
yeah. But that's their company, and we let them work in our country because some people buy their cars.
But yeah, even if the paperwork process takes too long, like I've applied for visas in other countries before, sometimes it does take too long. It's the same thing as America, but just because it takes too long doesn't mean that you should ignore the country's federal law. You're going there as a guest. You should respect their federal law, no matter how long it takes.
Yeah, I mean, if
I get it's
anybody
unfair and
was
it's messed
deported
up, but
on a visa, then anybody who's here on a visa right now is threatened by that. They can't do the work they came here to do, the research they came here to research. They're worried about their visas not standing up for what they thought it would.
wait, what was your
If
argument?
even one
They're worried
person
about
got
their visas
deported,
being canceled, or what are you saying?
if even one person from that Hyundai fiasco was deported on their visa, everybody who's here in America on a visa is now feeling that that doesn't mean anything.
But you've conceded to the fact that we don't have substantial evidence to know if one person had a lawful visa or not. And
We
also,
did. South Korea pretty much confirmed that for us. I don't. I'm
where
going
did
to
they
see right
confirm
now.
that?
I'm
What's
going to
the
look right
article?
now. I'm going to look
I've
right
never
now.
heard them confirm that. And how can we trust a foreign government?
How can we trust ours?
Fair enough, but what did someone say? I lost one of my thoughts. Oh yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, no, someone said, "Oh, they had visas." Like I just stated, some of them applied for visas. By the way, I would like to point out one more thing. Even if this guy did have a visa, here's another issue. Even if he did have a visa, even if he was there legally, if you jump over the border or enter the country illegally, that's automatic means for deportation, whether you have an active visa or not. Do
It's
you see
going
the
to
problem
court
with
right
that?
now.
Sorry?
It's going to court right now.
Well, we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
even if you did have an active visa, even if you did have legal status, the minute you enter the country through a port or a wall or a hole in the wall, that's not legal means of entry. That's instant status to be. That's instant. Justification to be deported. It doesn't matter if you have a legal visa or not. That's a crime, and you can be deported for that. Have you
Well, I
ever
guess we'll
seen
find out if that's what happened.
have you ever seen Andrew Callahan's episode where he jumps over the border from Mexico into America?
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what happens, man. American citizens have to go through the port of entry. It's a crime otherwise.
No, I hear you. I mean, is there any proof that those individuals came in not an illegal port of entry?
I mean, claims from ICE and federal law enforcement say that some of them didn't. But I
Again, to
guess
your
it'll
point,
all
we don't
show out
have
in
that
court,
credible
huh?
evidence yet.
Sorry?
So but it's going to court. That's what I'm reading here.
Well, credible evidence is, federal law enforcement statements are a little bit more credible than quote unquote leaked documents show this or
Yeah,
that.
but that's what it is. It's a federal ICE document that was leaked. So it's their words. We're just reading them,
But it's leaked, quote unquote. That can be fake.
right? And that's again, it's in court right now. So for short-term B1 visitor visas.
What do you think about Trump making $100,000 fee for any companies that want to hire B1 visa workers? I personally agree with it because I think we should put America first. And if you're an engineer, if you're someone providing substantial economic development or something major in the country, then that company will pay that $100,000 fee. I believe it's just a one-time fee of $100,000.
Yeah, I heard about this. It sounds like you're putting a price on citizenship.
I mean, there's always been a price on citizenship. You have to pay for your documents. You have to pay for a background check. You have to pay to move your belongings. You have to pay for a plane ticket.
Yeah, it's already extremely difficult. And then you're going to
Yeah, it
give
is,
really
but
rich people the
it's
ability
not a
to just
God-given right. It's not a
skip the
God-given
line.
right.
I think it gives rich people an ability to skip the line.
I mean, yeah, it's harder to move places in general if you're poor, but the
Yeah.
people can't. The immigrants, the H-1B visas can't pay it out of their pockets. The company has to pay for it. The company that's issuing them a visa has to pay for the $100,000 fee. The individual that's trying to be employed at the company cannot pay it.
H-1B visa petitions from outside the U.S. must be accompanied by a $100,000 fee. It is intended to apply to only new applicants, not current visa holders or renewals. This fee is aimed at restricting the use of H-1B visas to very high value jobs. Trump's administration claims cheaper, lower skill use of H-1B is assuming the program undercutting U.S. workers.
It is. I 100% agree with that. Do you think U.S. workers are being undercut for cheaper labor from?
I'm just reading the proposal. I don't say I'm not agreeing with that
No,
or
I know you're
disagreeing
not
with that.
agreeing with it or disagreeing with it, but do you agree with that?
Let me see a little bit more. It is not totally clear whether the fee is annual, one time for those applications. Some sources say annual fee, others say just new visas. Is this in? Did he put it in the House yet or anything like that?
This was an executive order.
Ah, there are exceptions. It may be waived if deemed in the national interest. It changes long-standing norms of H-1B sponsorship costs, which have been much lower historically. Uh, mm,
Snuffles.
might protect American labor in some cases.
I see a lot of
Yeah.
comments and questions down below. If you guys got anything to say, drop some super chats.
Oh, Kimmel is back.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that was quick.
We'll see what happens, but no one cares really.
Yeah, they made a lot of noise about that. Do you think that it infringed on freedom of speech? Do you think Charlie would have been proud of
No, I
that?
think he got fired for his low ratings, and then people started talking shit about to ABC, and that he got hired back. But he lost 71% of his audience over the last decade. So
Everyone has. That's late night
I
TV.
know
Streaming is
late
just
night TV
more.
is dead.
Yeah.
And by the way, that has nothing to do with the First Amendment. The First Amendment doesn't protect you for getting fired from your job. From what I know, the First Amendment just
Well, why did he get
protects you
hired back?
from, huh?
Why did he get hired back?
Like I just said, ABC was taking a lot of shit from the Democrat Party. They were screaming at the top of their lungs, "Justice for Kimball."
Yeah, I'm personally a Conan fan myself. If I was to watch any of them,
Yeah, I don't watch any of them.
Conan's hilarious. His old stuff, man, he's funny. He's a funny
I'm
dude.
not going to confirm or deny that. I really don't watch him.
Fair enough.
Who's evil? Who's evil? Who's evil? Conan is crap, someone said.
Hey, it's his opinion. Democrats support criminals, sure. I think we just have to be. Do you think? Do you think there's more violence these days, or
Are you
are we
talking
just
about
seeing?
historically or you're talking about politically?
I
Depends on the
guess both.
context.
No, like politically in the United States, do you think that we're more divided or are we more together?
We are, depends who you ask, but I think we're divided right now. But at the end of the day, if you're talking about actual violence statistics, this is the safest period in history to live in. So,
No doubt. Yeah, 100%. Uh, but why? should Americans ever be divided against each other? How did that happen?
Well, dude, look at all these insults I'm getting just because people. I mean, maybe you'll disagree with me, but whenever I go on liberals' channels, I never see any central, moderate, conservative people sitting there insulting them. But every single time I go live stream, I wear any kind of Trump hat or just have this flag behind me. People want to send nasty insults and nasty messages about an innocent Christian father's death, Charlie Kirk, or they want to talk about this or that.
Yeah.
They're and I also think, they're destroying their party because I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I think, celebrating, I would say the majority of the Democrat Party, especially celebrities and people like that, were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. A lot of people on Twitter were doing it. Everyone knows these people are Democrats. And when you're a Democrat and you see other people acting like disgusting subhumans and, being pieces of shit, that doesn't really make you want to stay with the Democrat Party. So,
No, and it's hard to believe any of that. I'm sure there's some liberals saying that, but I'm sure there's some trolls acting as liberals, saying the worst things they could think of too.
I
So
mean, maybe they're not Democrats, but they definitely didn't vote for Trump.
or they could have, and they just
No,
said
I highly
exactly what
doubt that.
they knew would provoke. That's the thing about the internet. We don't know who's behind the keyboard.
We don't know. That's fair enough. But at the same time, there's either only two reasons why you're leaving hate comments. First reason is, you live a miserable life because I've never seen someone that, is a happy, successful person, a homeowner, any kind of person that's doing well whatsoever, you know, uh, living a successful, fulfilling life. Leave any hate comments on any YouTube live streams anywhere on the internet. I've never seen anyone living a fulfilling life. Rather, you're just getting by, or you're successful, or you're living, a moderate life. I've never seen anyone that's halfway happy with themselves on the internet leaving troll comments. And the only other reason I can think of why these people would be leaving comments is because they just truly hate anyone on the right. Hell, they hate people that are in the middle. Anyone that doesn't set a line with their liberal beliefs, they disagree with.
So what do we do? How do we get the tensions to settle
Dude,
in
I've
America?
tried. Like, I've tried on multiple live streams. I've had entire live streams where I commit to asking people what we can do to bring people together. And all they do is just continuously to sit here and drop super chats to insult me or drop comments to insult me. And it's like a lost cause with them. It is like a lost cause. Like, I try and I
Yeah.
try and I try. But in my opinion, the best thing that we can do is be nice as possible to people of the other party. I'm always nice. I never, just because you have different political uh, beliefs than me, unless you attack me first or unless you name call me first, I'm never going to come out and name call you. I've had debates with people and they promise, they're like, I'm not going to name call you, I'm not going to name call you, but then halfway into the debate where I start proving my point and they feel like they're either losing or they don't like what I'm saying, they find it necessary to start name calling me. And most of these people are not on the right side. And they're not
Do you
even
think
centralists. These are
if
mostly
Donald
very far left people.
do you think if Donald went and spoke to the people and stated explicitly that we do not need to be mad at our fellow Americans for their political views, uh, do you think that would ease some tensions?
No, I don't think that would ease any tensions. They hate Donald. They don't care if he cured cancer. They would demonize him and they'd say, that's racist. We deserve to die cancer. What you did with cancer, that's horrible. How dare you cure cancer? The problem with Donald is he's demonized. I think in the future, the country might come together more under maybe another conservative leader. But as far as I see with Donald, it's not even about his policies the majority of the time. It's mostly about his personality.
Well,
It's
yeah,
about his rhetoric. It's about the things that he say. He can be a great president. I've had people on here that say, "Oh yeah, I love all Trump's policies, but I hate Trump and I didn't vote for him because I don't like his rhetoric and I don't like the way he talks and because this or that. But I love all his policies and what he does for the country."
yeah. I think I just, I think he's a little insecure, and he projects that onto us.
I don't
I
know if
mean,
I'm insecure,
I work
but
with
I can
children.
say that he's definitely braggadocious. But insecurity, I don't really get that from him. But I guess many people feel that way. But I
Well, I mean, you put
understand.
a gold statue of yourself on the National
He
Mall.
didn't put that gold statue of himself.
That wasn't him.
A crypto community put that statue of himself, and he's holding a Bitcoin.
I wasn't clear whether or not that was him.
No, that was
So it's
not
not
him.
there anymore, right? They took
I
that
have no
down.
idea if it's there, but it wasn't him anyway. It wasn't his calling or what. It wasn't his doing.
Good. Yeah. What do you think about the ballroom?
The ballroom. I mean, he said it's going to be paid for by his private donors and out of his own pocket.
Right. Do you think why would you renovate your house to move out of it?
Well, first off, if you want to talk about Trump 2028, we can go into that. Do I think Trump will possibly run in 28? I mean, he said he doesn't plan on doing it, but there's always possibilities that we win the midterms and someone amends the Constitution. FDR ran for 4 terms, so it is possible that he, runs for presidency again. But I don't think he's, necessarily looking at being president in 2028. But why would he, make something better for America? I don't know. Why would he end the conflicts why would he end conflicts in other countries when he's not even going to be like alive in 30 years? I mean, we can just go
Well,
down this road of
again, those
why would he do
conflicts haven't
this? Why would he
officially
do this?
ended. They have ceased fire and are looking to broker
They've signed a
peace. They
peace
haven't been
agreement. They
officially
have
ended.
brokered peace and they have stopped all fighting and conflict. They signed a peace agreement, but I mean, we can word it any way you like.
I hear you. I mean, that's what's happening.
I mean, when you sign a peace treaty and it's been about a month or two, and there hasn't been any continuous conflict, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's over. But of course, there's always a chance that war or conflict can come back.
Yeah, of course. Just like with us.
So, what do you think
Uh,
about the ballroom? Your thing is saying, oh, he's only doing the ballroom because he's going to be the dictator. Yada yada yada.
I just think there's better ways to be spending the taxpayers' dollars.
I mean, it's not the taxpayer dollars. You just conceded to the fact that it's his own money and his personal
Well,
his
right.
friend and his donors' money.
Then spend it on the American people. Are we
I
going to
mean,
be
that
able to
is for the
go,
betterment
Graham?
of
If
America.
we
Would you?
show up
Huh?
together as Americans, and we want to tour the White House and use the ballroom, is that it's the people's house? Will we have the right to be able to do so?
I don't know, but that's up for them to decide. But at the end of the day, I will. If you want to discuss the purpose of the ballroom, this is very simple.
To house
I don't know what you're saying,
foreign.
but the purpose of the ballroom is this. So if you're in business or if you're trying to get hired by a major company or you're trying to do this and that, what is some major things that you do? You bring these people that you want to do business deals with to a nice place with maybe music, dinner, a nice place, and you sit down, discuss the bait, and you have some food, some drinks, and what does that do? That's how deals are made, and that's how people get new jobs and stuff like that. Other than of course, just the traditional
Right.
methods. But I
That's what
mean,
the Oval Office is for.
but the Oval Office is very small. This is a place to host hundreds of people.
And that was the Kennedy Center for years and years and years.
Well, I don't know how the Kennedy Center looks. I'd have to look at it. But yeah, I mean, I think we should have a ballroom.
Yeah. Um,
And if it's not funded with your taxpayer dollars, why do you care?
well, I just don't think he should be. The president shouldn't have
That's
his
that's
personal
horrible,
funds
Chris.
involved in that at all.
Sorry.
Last time he didn't take a salary, and it's like that's cool, but if you're making yourself personally more wealthy,
Wait. You
it's
said
not
last
cool.
time he didn't take a salary and he made himself more personally wealthy. His first term.
Yeah, his first term.
He joined, and I mean, this is public information. Pull it up on your computer. He
I am.
became president in 2015, 2016, and he was worth $5 billion. He left his first term with $2.4 billion. He lost half of his net worth during his first term. The only reason his net worth is substantially higher now is because he launched his media company last year in 2024, and that doubled his net worth. And also, yeah, part of that is, estimates on his cryptocurrency, blah, blah, blah now. But if you want to
It's
do
up by
a,
3 billion.
sorry?
Net worth estimates for extremely wealthy individuals often depend heavily on appraisals, valuations of private property and businesses. So they can swing a lot. Some increases seems to be driven by the value of his media and tech holdings, True Social, as well as appreciating real estate licensing and crypto ventures.
Okay,
There are
but look up
also
his net
legal
worth in
judgments.
2016. Look up his net worth, Trump's net worth, 2016. Then look up his net worth in 2021.
Let's see. You're right. It does go down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. He didn't gain any money during his first term.
He's still a billionaire.
He is a billionaire, but apparently you have a problem with billionaires.
It's a multifaceted issue. But I don't. It's a hoarding of wealth. That takes money away from us in the long run, brother.
I don't see how that takes money away from us.
They hoard it.
How are they hoarding it?
I'll explain.
But the majority of his net worth is in assets that create jobs for other people. The majority of that net worth is in hotels and real estate where people are employed at.
Yeah. So, tax avoidance and loopholes. Billionaires earn through investments, not salaries. Investments are taxed at lower rates.
That's not always
Wages.
true, but yes, that is true. Investments are taxed at lower rates.
When they die, heirs inherit assets and current market value, erasing capital gains tax. Offshore tax havens use
I don't know
shell
if there's an
companies in
inheritance
places
tax
like
now, but I think Biden passed an inheritance tax. But continue.
Offshore tax havens use shell companies in places like Cayman Islands or Luxembourg. Lost harvesting, they sell investments at a loss on paper.
Okay, I get it. You don't think they pay enough taxes, but
lowering
can you
taxes.
please explain how they're hoarding wealth and how it's hurting you because they're not giving you all their money?
Yep.
I mean, the majority of these billionaires aren't just sitting on piles of. They don't just have a room filled with $100 billion.
1 second. I have this because I looked it up. I'm looking it up in my Google documents. Can't keep everything in there, but I write it down.
Give me more tax breaks, Maga. I need my Urus.
Hoarding wealth may have been the wrong way to say it.
I hope you get a
they
Lamborghini
don't stack
Urus,
cash,
Chris.
they stack loopholes. Billionaires hoard
like I
wealth
said,
in stocks,
I believe
trusts,
taxation
shell
without
companies, invisible to the tax man but growing every year.
I have
While
no problem
workers
with that.
pay with
I
every
think taxes
paycheck,
are
billionaires live
unconstitutional.
off loans, not income, so they just pay nothing.
Okay, once again, I don't have a problem with that. A millionaire can do the same thing. What's your point here? Once again, can you please, Graham, we're gonna ride in it. What's a Urus? A Urus is a Lamborghini SUV. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I have no problem with people, not paying taxes. Doesn't say taxation without representation, it's unconstitutional, yada, 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 yada.
I have to, my phone's volume, my phone's dying. I just plugged it in. Give me a second.
Okay. Smash that like button, guys. Oh. There you are.
Yeah, sorry about that. You hear my cat? So nobody's allowed to be a billionaire? What do you think, Kev?
I think that we need billionaires.
Yeah. I don't think we need them. I don't think they look out for our well-being.
I mean, does anyone look out for anyone else's well-being? I believe everyone, is pretty
I
much on
do.
their own.
I look out for my fellow Americans' well-being every single
Okay,
day.
well, are you giving all your money out to people on the street? Are you, like going
I
out of your
do.
way to
I
house
took a
illegal
pay cut
immigrants? Are you
every
letting
time. I make sure I get what I deserve and can pay for my life, but I donate every overture to less fortunate individuals.
Well, some people would say, if you're going to criticize billionaires, let people live in your house for free. You have plenty of room.
From time to time, I do.
Not time to time. You need to do it full time. If you don't have anyone in your house, you gotta go find some homeless people off the street. But what about all
Uh,
the great innovations billionaires have made? If billionaires weren't allowed, and there's a cap on how much
yeah,
you
I
can
hear
make, what
you.
if some of these great creators didn't make some of these inventions?
Trying to be able to hear you here. It's behind. My phone's busted, buddy. We're gonna have to continue this some other day.
It's okay, man. Have a
This was
good evening.
excellent, Graham. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, you're
For
a
real.
good
As a fellow
conversationalist.
American,
Yeah.
I believe in us and I believe in each other, and I think we're gonna find a positive path forward.
Hell yeah. Thank you for your time and thank you for your service again.
Thank
Join me
you,
another
Graham.
time. Peace out.
Have a great night. Okay.
Okay, have a great night. Great civil debate. Quick stream, I guess, Chris. Quick stream. You guys better join me in Chris's stream and you better drop super chats. Quick stream about debate panel. Chris, it's Monday. They ain't dropping super chats. Everyone drop me a super chat. Drop a $5 super chat, Chris, because I want to pass out. Look at my eyes. I'm getting Chinese eyes. Don't I look tired? Thank you, Alexander. Much appreciated. Thanks, Alex. By the way, I wasn't trying to make that a racial thing. It kind of just came out. Drop a $5 super chat, Chris. Drop a $5 super chat. I want to fall asleep, my guy. Wake up. I guess some people would say that's racist. I didn't mean it as a racial remark, but I mean, to be fair, Asian people already know that, they have different genetic features. And also, they're beautiful. Asian people are beautiful. I've had Chinese, Vietnamese girlfriends before, and they're beautiful. Are you sick? Yes, I'm sick. Thank you, Kev. I appreciate that. Monday is always rough for super chats. That's why I tell you guys drop super chats because I really appreciate it. And Monday is like the driest day of the week. Wow, good cover. Just like I don't even know what that comment means. All right, guys, I'll give you another 30 seconds to drop any questions, super chats. I appreciate that, Chris. I will end the stream here in 30 seconds, and I'll get you on. Yeah, I'm sick. Hopefully I get better tomorrow. Wake up, America. Wake up. Night, Justin. Hope you guys smashed that like and subscribe button. I got this bump on my face because I'm sick, but thanks, asshole. All right, guys, I'm hopping off. Join the new live stream. We're going to talk about the debate panel.